Tonight on the world news from BGI TV Currents, first the headlines. Ecowas heads of state go into closed-door sessions to discourse about Niger. Tinunbu okays Islamic clerics negotiations with Niger coup leaders. State creation, National Assembly will be fair to all, Barrow assures. Ipman confirms another fuel pump price hike. And to foreign, Niger coup leader Tiani signs decree forming interim government. And on sports, our Super Falcons shared beds in camp on Numanu. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. The news in detail. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, heads of state have gone into a closed-door meeting in Abuja, Nigeria, to discuss the recent coup d'etat in Niger Republic. Information reported that the meeting is attended by the ECOWAS chairman and president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinunbu, as well as the president of Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, Burundi, Cote d'Ivoire, Mauritania, Ghana, Senegal, Benin, and Togo. The Gambia and Liberia were represented by their ministers of foreign affairs. The heads of state are set to discuss the recommendations of the last ECOWAS Chiefs of Defense Staff meeting, which was held in Abuja from August 2nd to 4th. The recommendations included imposing sanctions on the coup leaders, restoring constitutional order to Niger, and providing humanitarian assistance to the country. In addition to the heads of state, the closed-door meeting was also attended by the president of Mauritania and Burundi, envoys, high representatives, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Mohammed Sahad Abubakar, Abdisalam Abubakar, Babagana Kingibe, a representative from the United Nations Office for West Africa and Sahel, UNOWAS, a video.
Today we gather with profound sense of urgency and firm determination, building upon the commitment made during our first extraordinary summit on the grave political crisis befalling our sister nation. During that initial meeting, we voiced our solidarity with the people of Niger and their democratically elected president, His Excellency Mohamed Bazoum, by condemning the military takeover and the unjust detention of their democratically elected president and other officials. As you may recall, we called the junta to rescind the decision of them toppling a democratically elected government. We proceeded to impose sanctions with the hope that this resolute measure will serve as a catalyst for the restoration of the constitutional order in Niger. Regrettably, the 7-day ultimatum we issued during the fourth summit has not yielded the desired outcome.
Please withdraw from the hall and all other invited guests. Once again, the formula is 1 + 2. The envoys, the invited heads of states of the republics of Mauritania and Burundi.
President Bola Tinunbu has given the go-ahead for major Islamic groups to negotiate with military who ousted the democratically elected President of Niger Republic, Mohamed Bazoum. After a meeting with the president on Wednesday at the presidential villa Abuja, the ulama said they are enjoined by their religious faith and Quran to seek mediation first in conflict before restoring to war. Sheikh Balalo of Izala Group and Sheikh Abdurrahman Ahmed of Ansaruddin, flanked by leaders of other sects, addressed correspondents after their meeting with Tinunbu. He said the delegation of ulama here in Nigeria met with Mr. President on the issue of the Niger Republic. We want to find a lasting solution. We want peace and harmony to reign not only in Nigeria, but in the sub-Saharan region and globally. So the whole ulama advised Mr. President that we want peace and reconciliation. Always, if there is anything happening between you and your neighbor, the Al Quran commands you to reconcile, so we want reconciliation. That is why we are here, and inshallah, by grace of Allah, we are optimistic that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do it for us and find a lasting solution to this issue. On his part, Sheikh Abdurrahman Ahmed stated, the president, like he said, welcomed our intervention, and he has promised that if we could talk to the people on the other side, for them to be ready to give cohesion, then Ecowas, that he is chairman of, is also ready. Other than that, the president deplored coup d'etat in the Sahel region, and as a Democrat himself said, he will do everything to ensure that there is democracy, justice, freedom, and peace in the sub-region. So we pray for peace not only in Nigeria, but also in the sub-region and in the world, because that is the only thing that can ensure development. Meanwhile, former Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, who was in Niamey, capital of Niger Republic, earlier in the day and met with the military leader, returned who was at the presidential villa to brief Tinunbu on the visit. When asked about what he got when he got to Niamey by journalists on his visit, Sanusi said fine but declined further claims.
To allow them to dialogue with their colleagues in the Niger Republic on how to restore peace and democratic government in the country. The clerics who are opposed to war with the Nigerian military as threatened by Ecowas argued that apart from the dire consequences of armed conflict, they are enjoined rather by their faith to seek mediation first in cases like this.
President deplored, coup d'etat in the Sahel region, and as a Democrat himself, he said he will do everything to ensure that there is democracy, justice, freedom, and peace in the sub-region. We as ulama are also committed to peace and justice.
The ulama advise Mr. President that we want peace and reconciliation. Always, if there is anything happen between you and your neighbor, the Holy Quran commands you to reconcile. So we want reconciliation. That's what we are here. And our
Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin has assured members of the movement for the creation of Tiga and Gari State from Kano states that the National Assembly would be fair to all during the review of the 1999 Constitution. Barau said these when members of the movement led by Senator Masoud El Jibrin Dogwa paid him a courtesy call at the National Assembly yesterday. Barau, who chairs the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review, said the 10th Assembly would give all groups advocating state creation equal opportunities to present their cases. A statement issued by the Special Advisor, Media and Publicity to the Deputy Senate President, Ismail Mudashir, commended the members of the movement for Tiga and Gari State for sustaining the tempo over the years. Earlier, Senator Dogwa stressed the need for the creation of two states from Kano states. He said in the last 40 years, they have been advocating the splitting of Kano State, given its size and population to fast-track its development. We want more states to be created out of the present Kano State. This will bring much needed development. In the last 40 years, we've been advocating for more states. We are not pushing for it to fight anybody, but to attract development in the states. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria said the price of premium motor spirits, popularly known as fuel, would continue to increase as long as the US dollar rose in the foreign exchange market. Chinedu Okoronkwo, the national president of IPMAN, disclosed these exclusively while reacting to speculation of further fuel pump hike. The IPMAN's boss noted that the price will keep soaring if the dollar keeps rising in the forex market. Nigerians should understand that with the fuel subsidy removal, the government is no longer determining pump prices but the market forces. The product is bought in dollars. The dollar is around $890 per word naira now. As the dollar climbs, fuel pump prices will continue to go up. As a solution, he urged the government to double up efforts to make compressed natural gas available to Nigerians. Government should make cautious efforts towards making CNG available to Nigerians, he stated. Naira dropped further to dollar exchange at 782 naira per dollar on Wednesday at the official market, but at the parallel market dollar is exchanged at 910 naira per dollar. Consequently, the pump price of product is expected to exceed 670 naira per liter. Information records that 3 weeks ago, fuel marketers increased the fuel pump price from 530 naira per litre to over 600 naira per litre. Some youth from Arubo Ijo area of Eseldo, local government area of Ondo State, have stormed the venue of the public hearing for the local council development areas, faulting the entire process. Carrying placards with various inscriptions, the youths want a separate LCDA without merging with them with Ilaje. They demanded for the creation of Uparama LCDA, stressing that any form of merger will create crisis in Nigeria and the area. They urged the acting governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, to urgently look into the matter. Obasanjo Amushegon Kala Suwa of Apoiland, who joined the protesters, urged the government to separate local government from the Arubo Ijo people. According to him, the Ijo people should be considered because of their contributions to the development of Ondo State. They described the current arrangement as a slap on the Ijo people. "20 persons were reportedly killed, with over 10 others injured by assailants in the Iping district of Barkinladi local government area of Plateau State in north-central Nigeria. According to information, residents of the community said the attackers came in the early hours of Thursday and invaded the community while they were sleeping. Residents of the area gave effort to the vigilante group in the community were not strong enough to ward off the attackers, who they claimed had superior fire weapons against the vigilantes' Dane guns. According to them, the brawl with the attackers resulted in the death of 4 of the vigilantes as they set some houses on fire, burning residents who were asleep and could not escape from the sudden attack. John Macpam, a resident of the community, who lost 5 relatives, including his brother, Don Mac, the wife and 3 children, said the attackers invaded the compound, set the building ablaze, and killed all members of the family while asleep. The incident has been confirmed by the public relations officer of the police command in Plateau State, DSP Alfred Alabo, who stated that security has been reinforced in the community with personnel on the trail of the attackers. Moving on to the foreign story. The leader of the Mountaineers who seized power in Niger, General Abdurrahman Tiani, signed a decree to form a new transitional government. Mr. Tiani signed a decree on Wednesday, the Act 2 Niger New Portal reported, adding that the new interim government consists of 21 ministers. According to the list of new government members, an absolute minority are in the military ranks. On July 26, President Mohamed Bazoum was ousted and detained by his guards, led by Mr. Tiani, who proclaimed himself the country's new leader. Then the caretaking National Council for Safeguard and Homeland closed the country's border, brushing aside security agreements with France, Niger's former colonizer. On July 30th, the Economic Community of West African States, Ecowas, suspended all financial aid to the country and froze rebels' assets. The sub-regional bloc also banned commercial flights to and from the country and closed all borders.
National television, Prime Minister Ali Mahaman will lead the 21-member government with general...
It could resort to military intervention otherwise. The ultimatum expired on Sunday. Talks are ongoing in Abuja by Ecowas leaders to resolve the political impasse and release Mr. Bazoum in Niger.
National television, Prime Minister Ali Mahaman will lead the 21-member government with generals from the new military governing council heading the defense and interior ministries. The coup leaders have refused to stand down despite threats by Ecowas that it could use force to restore democracy. After taking over power in Niger on the 26th of July, the junta has ignored the 6th August deadline from the Economic Community of West African States to reinstate ousted President Mohamed Bazoum.
Finally, on sports. Super Falcons forward Ifeoma Onumenu has revealed that the team had to share beds in camp during their preparation for the 2023 Women's World Cup. Recall that Nigeria was knocked out from the round of 16 of the competition by England after losing 4-2 on penalties. However, in an interview, Onumenu, who led the line for the African nation against the Lioness, highlighted the differences in support that both teams received back home. I've seen what England had access to In Nigeria, we don't have access as such. Our training fields aren't great. Where we sleep isn't great sometimes. We share beds. It's not good enough. In terms of recovery, we don't have much of any of sort. We don't have access to gym in camp in Nigeria. There is a lot that needs to be done. We do what we can because we love playing for our country, Nigeria, but hopefully they make it easier for us to do our best back home. That pitches aren't great. The grass is rocky, bumps everywhere. The stadium we play in for qualifying, you will be surprised. With the sports story, we've come to the end of today's World News from BGI TV Currents. Before we go, some major headlines. Ecowas head of state go into closed-door session to discuss about Niger. Tinunbu okays Islamic clerics negotiation with Niger coup leaders. State creation, National Assembly will be fair to all, Barrow assures. Ipman confirms another fuel pump hike. And on foreign, Niger coup leader Tiani signs decree forming interim government. And on sport, we brought to you how Super Falcons shared bet income or nominum. For more updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and share. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Mo Rabila Lawa. Good evening.